Next session at Brookline Tai Chi, we're going to transition back into God's playing in the clouds for the main Qigong course. And every time you make a transition from spending time with one Qigong set to another, it's worth thinking a little bit about what it's like, what qualities you want to take away from one and bring into another one. Often, I'll advocate for keeping them totally separate. So you start to get a sense as you do the different Qigong sets that each one develops a different aspect of your energy or your physical body or your awareness. But sometimes it's worth seeing the links between them. And I'll give you a good example. In energy gates, when we're doing cloud hands, for example, the primary focus for most people, most of the time when you're doing it, is on the turning. So you're turning the limbs, you're turning the arms, you're turning the legs, and you're working on the continuity of that turning. And that loosens up the shoulders and the hips and gets the soft tissue starting to release a little bit. The next thing you do when you go to the marriage of heaven and earth is focus on what we call lengthening. So you're taking all the fascia in the body, the soft tissue in the body, and you're learning how to really let it release and get longer along the limbs. What we've been doing this past semester has actually been focusing on the wrapping of the torso as well, and that gives you a different sense of flow in the body. But it's still a soft tissue thing, so you're elongating the body, you're stretching it out, which wasn't necessarily the case when you were doing turning and rotation just to loosen up the body. When you go to Gods, you get something really interesting. The movements all of a sudden are not just rotational, and they're not just circular in the sense that you're trying to sort of make this elongated circle, this kind of oval, the way you get in the marriage of heaven and earth. You're into spheres now. And so when you have a spherical movement, if your body starts to feel more connected, you get a sense of lengthening and turning at the same time. So you get rotation and length together. And that, if you can keep those two things together and start to feel how they work together, starts to work the tissue in much more of a spirally kind of pattern. So just by the very nature of tracking a sphere instead of a circle, you start to condition the body and work the body in a different way. So our big focus here is going to be in the course is to start to feel those flows move through the body in the strongest possible way with the most continuity. So we'll work on the up and down flows, and we'll work on the center to periphery flows. But I'm going to show you how to take each different component that we'll work with and tie it back to how it makes the flows stronger in the body. Because there's nothing else in all the Qigong sets that I've done, there's nothing else like God's for giving you that feeling that a flow has really penetrated every layer of the body that you can feel. From your etheric field all the way as deep inside the body as you're ready to feel. So that's kind of what the potential is inside these big spherical movements, is that you're going to feel it at every level that you can access. There's going to be these deep, deep flows going. And the more you can pay attention to the big flow, the better. So a lot of you have gone through this cycle with me now several times to work with Gods, and we've looked at all the little pieces. This session, in this spring, in the summer, we're going to really try to look at big picture and say, how do I take one little component that I've trained over time and get it to feed the big flow in the body? So, just to circle back for a second, if you've gone through energy gates, you've gone through heaven and earth, you've worked your body in two very particular ways. You've loosened up the joints and the tissue through rotation, and then you started to release the constrictions in the soft tissue through the lengthening and wrapping process. We're going to try to put both of those to the test a little bit and see how well we can do the spherical movements of Gods to get the flows in the body to go much stronger. So that's what we have to look forward to this spring and over the summer. Hope you join me for the course, and stay tuned for more.